Hello and welcome to Not Gambling Advice, the baseball betting stream on the Just Baseball Network. It is Friday, June 2nd. We have a great slate of MLB picks ready for you. Before we even begin, I want to address the rumors that I've been donating in college baseball. Yeah, you'd be correct. Dallas Baptist left 11 on base. What a horrible showing in your first game, but it's all right. You'll battle back. Campbell was not the move. Right? We're still outside waiting Troy versus Boston College. And of course, Oral Roberts as our big dog later. If we can scavenge those two wins, we'll end up making some money today. That's the great thing about underdogs. But of course, I'm known for my MLB best bets. And that's what I'm here to deliver you today. That's why college baseball, we're just dipping our toes in some half unit plays. We're spraying the board. But I just want to let you guys know, of course, that I'm not just forgetting about the donations that we already did earlier today. Of course, I do apologize about that, but I'm not phased. It's going to be a fun college baseball tournament. It's a sport with a ton of high variance. You never really know what's going to happen. Well, I'm going to keep giving you my best, but of course, let's get into some MLB picks. Of course, always on BetMGM. Instead of wagering $10 to get 100, that code is unfortunately gone, but there's still the code Just Baseball. Risk-free $1,000 bets. When you download BetMGM, use code BASEBALL, and you'll see all the risk-free, all the bonus bets, all that good stuff by using code Just Baseball. And one more thing before we get into a recap of last time we were on the stream, because unfortunately we didn't stream yesterday, is we're doing a big Pikkit giveaway. So on my Twitter, at PeterApple23, where I assume a lot of you guys came from, we're doing a big giveaway for people who download the Pikkit Sports app and use code Peter when they sync their sportsbook. Not only will you be entered into a raffle, you'll win anywhere from $3 to $100, but we are picking 2 lucky people and just sending them $100 just for doing it. So if you want to tap into that giveaway while you listen to the stream, only takes a couple of clicks if you have yet. But if you've already downloaded Pikkit, yet to sync your sportsbook, go comment done once you did that, and you'll be entered into the giveaway. And of course, on Prize Picks, we do all of our Prize Picks entries on Prize Picks, funny enough. And if we use code JustBaseball, you will get a full 100% deposit match. I want to shout out Drew_CSCHO, just subbed with Prime. Total Slayer subbed with Prime. We're going to have a good day today. Again, thank you guys for coming. But let's do a quick recap of how we did on last stream. Colorado versus Arizona, under 10 runs. It got a little sweaty there in the beginning. I told you, right? Dinelson Lamet. I liked him, didn't love him, and of course he looked terrible, but I was like, runs are going to slow late, and that's exactly what happened. The game ended 6-0, something that wasn't on stream. Again, I am a full transparency guy. Every single time I lose, every single time I win, you're going to hear about it because we want to track each other's progress and make sure that nobody thinks that I'm lying about anything. Yesterday, Guardians was such a tough loss, right? I wrote in my article on justbaseball.com, Trevor Stephan was probably not going to be available because he's thrown so much. What did Francona do? Put in Stephan in a position that he wasn't built to succeed in that position because his arm was basically toast at this point, had thrown multiple days in a row. Regardless, that was a tough loss, but we're going to keep battling back. And at least last time we were on stream, and if we show the leaderboard, your boy's still on top, right? And just a reminder, whoever wins this competition will get World Series tickets. And if I win, I'm picking from a sub of this channel. We've already gotten a lot of subscribers, which is awesome. It's a great way to support the channel because, of course, all these bets are free. And then you will get entered if I end up winning this competition. World Series tickets, if I finish second, a $500 cash prize is going to one of you. All right? We got full of that. We're good there. Let's start getting into the picks, and then we're going to get in the model. And then, of course, we have what? How many picks we got today, Producer Cohn? We got 19 picks. So you're going to hear about every pick on the board. It's going to be a great day of MLB betting. Let's get into our first pick of the day. And we are rolling with the first 5 over 4.5 in St. Louis versus Pittsburgh. The pitching matchup is Jack Flaherty versus Roansy Contreras. And if I were Roansy Contreras, I would hate facing the Cardinals. If I knew they were on my schedule, I would be very disappointed. But the same kind of goes for Jack Flaherty, but it's not the worst matchup in the world for him. But regardless, expect runs early. The full game over should hit, but I'm targeting the first 5 for a couple of reasons. Number one, if Jack Flaherty threw strikes consistently, I would feel much better about him moving forward. He's supporting a walk rate above 13% as we enter June. That's not ideal. And that's just not going to get it done, especially when the Pirates themselves are a very patient team, 7th in walk rate against right-handed pitching this season. But even when the offense was slow in May, they still walked at a 9.2% rate and above average even during their worst month offensively. They know the game plan against Flaherty. Patience is key. This plan has resulted in consistent success against Flaherty. In 64 plate appearances against the Pirates' current roster for Jack Flaherty, he's rocking a 365 xWOBA, a 274 expected batting average, and a 445 expected slug. His strikeout rate against the Pirates, 18.8%, full notch below his regular 23.0 strikeout rate. Excuse me. Flaherty has had issues getting out lefties all season long, posting an 898 OPS against them compared to a 650 OPS against righties. The Pirates lineup is full of left-handed bats, right? You got Tucupita Mercado, Jack Sawinski, Brian Reynolds, Rodolfo Castro, G1 Bay, Josh Palacios. There is a lot of lefties in this lineup. He's probably going to see at least 6. And Pittsburgh is also baseball's best offense in the past week against righties, rocking a 137 WRC+. It's a small sample, right? It's only the past week, but the reason I bring it up is because of how bad we know the Pirates have been in the last, before that, like their 3-week stint where they couldn't hit a righty to save their life. Remember, baseball is ups and downs, just like betting sometimes, right? And the Pirates are finally starting to show why they still have that great offense. On the flip side, we have Roansy Contreras. I'm honestly pretty disappointed in his production this year, as I thought there was going to be a real breakout for him. His command has gotten worse, and his strikeout rate is the lowest it's been in his career. This has culminated in a 5.12 expected ERA compared to his 4.33 regular ERA. And the Cardinals, like I said earlier, love facing this 23-year-old right-hander. That's the thing. He's still so young. In 69 plate appearances against the Cardinals' current roster, they're rocking a 366 xWOBA, a 267 expected batting average, and a 406 expected slug. His strikeout rate against them is 5.8%. 5.8. It's unheard of in a sample like this. He faced the Cardinals 3 times last season, allowing 11 runs, 8 of them earned, in 14 1/3 innings to give him a 5.02 ERA. Flaherty also faced the Pirates 3 times last season, allowing 8 runs, 7 of them earned over 15 innings to give them a 4.20 ERA. Now, I implore you to go check out the Ballpark Pal model because the weather is beautiful in Pittsburgh today. We have wind blowing out to right field with the temperatures in the mid-80s. This weather will highly impact the game as Ballpark Pal has it tied for the second highest run scoring environment of the day. Now, the full game over should hit, but I respect these bullpens after an off day a little bit too much, I guess, to just be like, yeah, let's just go with the over. But the reason the model is obsessed with the over, as you can tell by the run projection, it's all coming early. It's coming against Roansy. It's coming against Jack Flaherty. And right now, let's check BetMGM and see where this line is because I did get it at 4.5 at -130, and we've seen this total climb up a ton. Right now, it's at 5 at -110. Still definitely playable at that number. I think this total is going to land on 6 or 7. That's why I feel like it is the big reason why we see this game going over is because of the starting pitching early. So if the question is, should you go, full game instead? I still think the full game over hits. I don't think it's a bad play, but easily my favorite part of this over is the first 5. We talk about that all the time, right? Why do you like the over? Do you like it because of the starting pitching? Do you like it because you think the bullpens are a little bit tired? I like the full game over because I think runs will happen early. That's why I got the 4.5 on DK at -147. Great. That's a little bit of juice, but I still got it at -130. You guys know I don't lay juice often. I'm laying it here because I love this number, and I would still bet it at 5. I still think 5 is a very, very good number. If we look at just Ballpark Pal model right now, basically what they have is 3.75 to 3.5. So what they are saying is that it should be closer to 6. I think that's where it's going to land. Of course, they still have the game going way over, but I think a lot of the production comes early against these two starting pitchers. All right, on it. Let's go, baby. I'm on a full game here. 9 minus 120 placed last night. Love it. It's over 5.5 on FanDuel. I would still take 5.5. I think it's going to land on 6 or 7. All right, let's go to the next game. The next game on the card is the Philadelphia Phillies versus the Washington Nationals at 7:05 p.m. Eastern. We got Zach Wheeler taking on Josiah Gray. So, as we all know, if you check your BetMGM account, this line is now at 9 at minus 110. So, again, great line movement since I sent these out to my subscribers the night before. And taking an over with Zach Wheeler on the mound and just betting on the Phillies in general, as we all know, can be very tricky. But he doesn't look quite as effective as he has in previous years. And he's also kind of a victim of fatigue. When his arm looks really healthy, he looks like one of the best pitchers on planet Earth. We saw him 8 shutout against the Atlanta Braves. But when he's feeling a little bit tired, the command isn't as strong and he's privy to runs being scored. He's now thrown 4 straight starts over 100 pitches. I have a feeling we won't see the best version of himself. But it's not just because of fatigue, right? He could look good, and I still think the Nationals would hit him. Because I got to give some credit to this Nationals offense. They have been killing the ball lately. I knew they could hit a left-hander and had a solid offense overall, but 3rd in WRC plus against right-handers in the last 2 weeks. Don't sleep on this Nationals attack. And Wheeler does have impressive numbers against the Nationals from a quality of contact lens over his career, but this is not the same Zach Wheeler that we've seen. And Wheeler has kind of been worse in road starts. If you look at his ERA, you look at his FIP, he struggles more on the road than he does at home. Conversely, I just don't expect a very good start from Josiah Gray. He's been skating along for far too long now, posting a 4.18 expected ERA compared to his 2.77 ERA. He's rocking the lowest strikeout rate of his career, his highest walk rate, and his highest hard hit rate. That's not a recipe for success with a guy like Josiah Gray, who's normally at a 5 ERA. This year, all of his other numbers look worse except for the ERA. That's due to hurt him. But what's been helping him is keeping the ball in the ballpark. But with today's weather conditions, paired with plenty of power bats for the Phillies, it's just a bad matchup. Considering his xFIP, which normalizes home run to fly ball rate, is 4.97, right? He has a lot of negative home run regression coming his way. And the Phillies also love facing Josiah Gray. In 52 plate appearances, they have a 404 xWOBA and a 657 expected slug. The power will just be too much for Gray in this one. And the Phillies bullpen, after Wheeler, average at best, right? They rank around the league average in many advanced metrics, 14th in ERA and 25th in WHIP. The Nationals bullpen has honestly been a dumpster lately. I remember at the beginning of the season, I was kind of propping up a couple of the back-end guys, and they've fallen back completely down to earth. 25th in ERA, 26th in WHIP. Like I said, I want to believe in the back end, but they just aren't doing the job. The model, if you guys go to Ballpark Pal, has this game capped at 10.5. I'm looking at it right now, 10.5 at minus 102, right? I think it's a pretty wild projection. I think it should be closer to more 9.5-ish. And right now, the game is still at 9. So even in a moderate projection, right, in a projection that doesn't give as much credit as Ballpark Pal is, it's still going over. I love this over because what Wheeler's big problem is that what the Nationals do best, right? Wheeler lives off the strikeout. Nationals don't strike out at all. And Wheeler, he's not really a big home run guy. He's more of a guy who gives up, a couple of hits here and there. That's exactly what the Nationals want to do. They don't beat you with the home run ball. They beat you with 1,000 paper cuts. I was speaking on BTL with Javon, and if you guys caught that segment, he broke it down really well as he really likes the Phillies team total over. I like the Phillies team total over, but I like the Phillies to score a ton off Josiah Gray based on that negative home run regression, knowing the Phillies have the power, knowing that the Phillies bats have not shown up, especially in that series against the Mets. I really like this over at 8.5, obviously, but would still play it at 9. Ballpark Pal says you should play it all the way up to 10.5. I think 9.5 should be the cap there, but 9 definitely playable. Like I said, big fan of this over. All right. So those are the picks for today, right? Not a huge slate. Really, really like these totals. Besides that, obviously I want to wage war on Chris Bassett and the New York Mets. There's some interesting line movement in the Rangers-Mariners game. That Mariners line keeps creeping down, which I find pretty interesting. You're probably wondering why I wasn't on against Reese Olson today for the Chicago White Sox. But as we know, the Chicago White Sox are unbettable. They're absolutely unbettable. So I usually will take this system, but not with the White Sox. Nope, not with the White Sox. They have not earned it. They have absolutely not earned it. The Phillies lineup is weird. Schwarber, Otto, out, back, leading off. We'll see. We'll see. I actually think he could have a really good day today. I really like his matchup against Josiah Gray. I think there's a reason why he's leading off. It's hard to back the Phillies nowadays, but they usually destroyed the Nats. That's what I'm saying here. I think the Phillies, their bats really show up today, but at the same time, I think the Nationals bats show up too. All right, let's get into the Ballpark Pal model. Park factors, game simulations, and a matchup machine in order to give you the best bets possible by using straight up math. Straight up math. Yeah, we'll get it done rather quickly because we got a bunch of people coming on to give picks today. So this is the first one. Like I said, I really want to wage war on Chris Bassett today, but the model doesn't really have an opinion on it, right? If we're looking at this, they think the total is pretty spot on. And remember, what I do is we bring you a lot of games for the model because you can look at the model for yourself, right? It's on ballparkpal.com for the games that I'm on. But really what I want to bring you is there's going to be a lot of people on this game, whether on the over, under, Blue Jays, Mets. So I want to tell you what the math is telling us. And it's basically saying that there isn't really much of an edge here, right? Minus 124 implied win probability on both sides, right? So slight overvalueness on the Mets, but, I'm not a big believer in this game really at all. I don't really have an opinion on it. I don't know what you guys think. If you guys like the Mets, you like the Jays in this matchup against Verlander. Not great weather conditions either at Citi Field. Up to you guys. Same shit whenever I said the Twins never beat the Yankees, blah, 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 and they did. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see, right? We'll see. All right, let's keep going. So we got this game. Obviously, the model is a huge fan of this over. And looking back on it, a lot of smart people are going to pitch this over. Maybe it's something I should have been on, but I was looking into it, and there's not really a phenomenal baseball argument for it, right? Like, you look at Framber's numbers against the Angels, and they've actually been very good. You look at Ohtani's numbers against the Astros, also been very solid. I obviously love these two starting pitchers, but the model has no doubt about it that it absolutely loves the over 7.5. And this was one of those bets, right? Yesterday, I sent out bets really early, because I sent them out the night before. This one was something I was going to bet depending on, even if it gave me a 5-cent adjustment, I was like, all right, it's moving in the right direction. Hasn't budged an inch, right? Still sitting around minus 110 across the board. Let's see right now on BetMGM if it's moved at all. It's moved towards the under. Right now on BetMGM, under 7.5 is minus 115. Now, I don't know. This is a really, really tough one. What are we doing arguing in the chat here, ladies and gentlemen? What are we doing arguing in the chat? We're all just trying to pick out winners. Let's all be friends. It's us against the books. We know that. We're all just trying to help each other win. All right? Let's keep going. But again, that's why it's like the model loves that one. Line movement is not on our side. Let's get to Diamondbacks versus the Braves. Another game, two pitchers with a lot of variance, right? Merrill Kelly's been very solid, but models never like him because his stuff is just not to the par of what you want it to be. Ohtani hitting leadoff is weird also. Okay, good. As long as we're not arguing. We're all friends here. Never mind. I might have been reading the chat wrong. That's on me. It's on me. Blame me. Blame me for starting unnecessary beef between people who aren't even beefing. All right, good. All right, so we have the Braves versus the Diamondbacks. This is showing a little bit of value on the Diamondbacks, right? It's basically kind of close to a pick 'em. I'm curious how that line is moved. Still minus 120, plus 100, so it hasn't really budged an inch. This is a tough game. I don't know what you guys think about this game. I would have a slight lean towards the Diamondbacks, not just because of what the model says, but Diamondbacks are just playing really, really good baseball right now. And Morton he's going to have to rely on that curveball a ton. And the Diamondbacks are actually pretty good at hitting the curveball, but it's one of those games where it's like, yeah, they might be pretty good at hitting the curveball, but Charlie Morton might have the best curveball in Major League Baseball as we sit here today. Maybe not the best, but, it's up there in terms of run value. Tough game. Trent's on the Braves. We'll see. Right? D-backs it is then. All right. Roll with the D-backs. I would have a slight lean towards the D-backs. So here's this game. We have the Dodgers facing off against the Yankees. I think this is the game of the day in terms of just entertainment factor. We have the Yankees traveling to Los Angeles. Clayton Kershaw taking on Luis Severino. Here's what I know about the Dodgers. They crush high velo, and Severino in his early return is focused a lot on that fastball. Obviously, the slider is very good. But the Dodgers, I think, are going to have some pretty solid success against Luis Severino. Excuse me. I got weird hiccups today. I'm a hiccup guy. Producer Colin, I'm still going through puberty or something. I'm still just a toddler. I don't know what's good with me. So we have, of course, the Los Angeles Dodgers. I think they hit up Severino pretty decently today. I think Severino can have moderate success, but I really believe in the Yankees bullpen. That's where I think runs are going to stop late. So I think if you're going to play this game, I would consider a first 5 over because I do like this Yankees offense against Kershaw. The Yankees offense has been phenomenal this season against left-handed pitching. You should expect Aaron Judge to continue his absolute tirade of Major League Baseball. What he did in May was unbelievable. He's got like a 250 WRC plus, been tearing the cover off the ball. I think the money line is pretty fair. And I think the full game total is also pretty fair, considering that I do like both bullpens, and the Dodgers bullpen is actually performing much better lately. Don't sleep on Dodgers first inning, -1/2, +320. Don't hate that. Yes, Stanton is back in the lineup today. So that's another guy who should hit lefties well, but it's his first game back, so hard to expect a guy just returning from the IL. But yes, he is back today. I would consider a first 5 over because I do think the Yankees give Kershaw a little bit of fits. And I do think that the Dodgers hitting high velo so well, Freddie Freeman on a tear, Mookie Betts doing his thing. Will Smith is still such a train engine against high velo. Harder you throw it, the harder he hits it out. I think the first 5 over would be the play in Yankees-Dodgers. Again, I don't play it because I'm banned myself from the Yankees. We saw what happened last year. I don't bet on them. But if I had to have a lean, it would probably be the first 5 over. Judge can hit lefties, which is weird. I wouldn't say can hit lefties. I would say he's not hitting lefties right now as well as he hits righties. But I agree with you. He's been in his worst split against lefties. All right, let's keep going. So we got the San Francisco Giants taking on the Baltimore Orioles. As you can see, no real value here. I find it interesting that, they do like the Giants through the first 5. Yeah, ban the Yankees. Absolutely, I ban the Yankees. They're my team. I ain't betting on my favorite team. So the model really likes Logan Webb today. Javon and I were talking about this on BTL. We kind of have a weird feeling that this is one of those games where the Giants are winning throughout the entire game and the Orioles have some crazy comeback at the end. I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but when I looked at this game, I just had that weird feeling in the pit of my stomach that the Orioles, it was going to be like a 3-1 game until the top of the 9th inning, and then the Orioles just have this crazy comeback. But I think in this game, you take the Giants early. I think that's the way to play this. All right, let's go to some home run props. As you can tell, what the Ballpark Pal does is it gives you their percentage of who they think is going yard today. And I like Kyle Schwarber a lot today. I think Tyrone Taylor is live. I talked about how I like Brian Reynolds to hit a home run today. Those are my favorites from this portion. It would be Brian Reynolds, it would be Tyrone Taylor, and it would be Kyle Schwarber. Not sure what you guys like today. I see some Marcell Ozuna love. I don't know how you can ever love Marcell Ozuna because I'm not a fan of him. But if I were to take some home run props today, it would probably be Schwarber, Tyrone Taylor. And then, of course, you could see this one. They love Yordan to go yard today. Jack Sawinski is a guy who I talked about. Really like Nolan Gorman's matchup, too. Paul Goldschmidt is another guy who I think is really good. Wait, can you throw that back on? Yeah. So if I'm looking at these, my favorite from this portion, so these are the guys who are usually juiced. I like Jack Sawinski a lot. I like Nolan Gorman a lot. JD Martinez is really high here. It's something to watch. But I like Nolan Gorman and I like Jack Sawinski the most to go yard today. On Gorman, Soler, Harper, I like those picks too. And the model obviously really likes Soler. But we got people in queue. Let's get to some picks today. We got Colby Olson coming off no stash and then missed his first bet without the stash. I'm going to keep calling you out on it because it was detrimental to the stream.
Dude, my dad's laughing in the background of that. You roasting me, which is hilarious. But
you should be laughing. This is serious, Colby. Tell him he can't laugh. This is serious. This is a serious lack of lip hair.
You know, we're polished and ready to win it back today with a 1.5 unit play.
Wow. All right. Put your money where your mouth is. I love it.
And before I get into that, JD Martinez, the last 10 games, has been a barrel machine. Dude, he's hitting everything in that zone that means he's hitting home runs. Like, I would not hate a JD dinger tonight. But away from that, we got to talk about the Seattle Mariners versus the Texas Rangers, Pete.
Wow.
Because we are about to fade John Gray today. I tried to fade John Gray, I believe, a week ago, 2 weeks ago. I don't think it hit. But this man has it coming for him. He has it coming. He has a 2.68 ERA, or maybe it's a 2.8. It's something. It's in the twos. And every expected metric, xERA, FIP, xFIP, are well into the fours. Almost 2 whole runs higher than his actual ERA right now. He's not striking batters out. He's gotten really, really lucky against bad opponents. And the Seattle Mariners have not been the hottest offense by their actual numbers. They have a 99 WRC plus over the last 14 days, I believe, maybe the last 30 days. But their xWOB over the last 30 days against right-handers is the same as the Texas Rangers. They have the Seattle Mariners have the highest hard hit rate in baseball over the last 30 days. Wow. So they're destroying baseballs. They're just getting a little unlucky. And so when there's a pitcher like John Gray on the mound where he is just expected to regress and the Mariners are hitting balls hard, like, this could be a big coming out party. You travel to Texas. They had a day off yesterday. George Kirby threw 8 innings shutout against the Yankees 2 nights ago. So the bullpen hasn't had to work at all. This is a fully rested bullpen. And I might add, it's one of the best bullpens in baseball. So Luis Castillo really just has to do his job through 5-6 innings, hand it over to this bullpen, and it's game over. Like, I don't even think the Texas bullpen is, going to matter here, but it's also, I like fading the Texas bullpen. They have not been strong as well. Over the last 14 days, they have a good ERA. I believe it's like a 2.9 ERA, but the Sierra is over 4. So not trusting this Texas bullpen at all. I love this play. Like, when you get to have Luis Castillo on the mound, who is as consistent as it gets, like, even when he doesn't have his best stuff, he's still going to put up 5 innings, 2 earned, 7 Ks, right? And then John Gray, I believe this is finally the outing where he gives up 5 earned.
It's so funny. I was when I was looking into this game, I was like, all right, Luis Castillo, in terms of swinging strike rate on his fastball, is number 1 in baseball. And the Rangers are an incredible fastball hitting team. So I was like, this is an immovable object meets an unstoppable force. Yep. What's going to happen? And it may just be kind of one of those where it's like Luis Castillo pitches fine, but the Mariners crush John Gray. I think that's what you're thinking. You're not like,
I think be runs.
Castillo. Yeah. Do you lean the over by chance? Just curious.
I would say I definitely lean the over. I just see the Mariners as the clear play here. That I didn't go for the over, because I'm not going to fade Luis Castillo. Like, I could easily see him throwing 6 shutout, and then this rested Mariners bullpen just shuts them down and they win 5-0. And I'm like, okay.
And then, yeah, we're drinking piss for this, for this over. No, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Oh,
yeah, you're lagging a little bit. It's probably my connection because I'm on, just 5G, but that's the play. That's the play, Pete. 1.5 units on the Mariners. This is one of my favorite plays of the week. This board this week has been weird, and this is one of my favorites.
Good stuff, my man. Appreciate you coming on. Get to golfing. Shoot 'em low, my friend. Shout out your dad.
Yeah, I have a 5:20 tee time, so I got to run. So hitting the links. Best of luck to you. I'll talk to you later.
Get out of here, my friend. Appreciate you, my man. All right. That was Colbert Olson, fresh off, no mustache. He's 0-1 since he shaved the mustache. So Rangers are the play. No, I'm just kidding. Colby knows what he's talking about. The fact that he's doing a 1.5 unit play is definitely something to monitor. Who else we got coming in soon? Mid-major's supposed to be up, but if he's lagging again, I'm going to call him out when he comes on stream. Then Gino. What schedule are we looking at, Producer Cohen?
We got mid-major, then we got Gino, then we got Javon, then we got Tomas, and then we got Arm. And we actually we got mid-major.
Bring up mid-major. Mid-major, how are you?
Hey, brother. What's going on, handsome?
I was about to make fun of you for being late, but you were only about 8 seconds late, so I'll give you a pass.
So I'm on the West Coast, so we are 3 hours behind you guys. So I'm actually 3 hours, 2 hours and 59 seconds, or 59 seconds early.
It's a good point. It's a good point.
Any other shit you want to talk?
No.
Any other shit? No.
Well, I mean,
outside of the standings, Peter.
I want to talk shit about you taking the Phillies, but I'm also on a game with the Phillies today, so I'm not talking anything. I just want to hear the plays.
Did I take the Phillies? I did not, man.
No, not today.
Yeah. I mean, fuck that team. Fuck that city. Fuck them all. Anyways, first play I have is the Angels money line. Ohtani on the bump. Outside of the odd props that are out there, Ohtani is lower to record a win. He is lower for hits allowed. He is higher on the strikeout line. On Prize Picks, he has a higher fantasy score. All as a dog. Those all catch my eye. But also, it's Framber. He has pitched probably, if not the top 5 pitcher in the month of May, or at least to this point in the season.
Oh, yeah.
But the Angels have they've seen him a lot in his career. He hasn't pitched bad against them, but he has about a 3.45 ERA against the Angels. And the lineup we put out today, have you seen it today?
Mm.
Take a quick check if you have time. I'm a big fan of it against Framber today. We don't have Ward leading off.
Let's see this lineup.
I'm a big fan of our cleanup hole. I'm a big fan of our 3-hole hitter today.
It says lineup unavailable on ESPN. Let's look at Underdog, see if they posted it. Also in chat, if anyone has any updates on Troy versus Boston College, let me know. Angels, Ohtani, Trout, Drury, Ward, Renfroe, Urshela, Walsh, Chad Wallach, and Zach Neto. You love this lineup? I think it's a good lineup.
Neto and Wallach have seen Framber well in their short stint, but I'm a big fan of Drury. He's really come on this year. I mean, we all know him against lefties, but he has seen Framber very well in his career. And hitting post, Trout, and Ohtani. I like Ohtani last year. His numbers at leadoff were spectacular. And I just like the way Ward has seen the ball as well. Also, the Astros bullpen has been super taxed over the last 2 series. And if Framber does get out by the 6th inning and doesn't go to the 7th, I think we easily win the game. Honestly, I'm on the reverse run line as well, but I'm posting the money line and for the contest because I think we win kind of handily, to be honest.
Wow.
We left 13 men on base yesterday, Peter. 13 fucking guys. We had the opportunities. Not ideal, brother. And I think we see those runs coming today.
Who pitched for the Astros yesterday? Was it Richard Blanco?
Ronel Blanco, and then we saw every single one of their high leverage guys yesterday, and they all pitched at least 15 plus pitches. So I like that.
I like that too. Good stuff, my man. I mean, it's Ohtani Framber. I mean, there's some sick games on tonight. You got Ohtani Framber, you got Kershaw, Severino. Is Angels your only pick today?
I got a couple, but just the last thing for this point, I know it's Ohtani, but Framber at home minus 130. I mean, it seems really low. And Ohtani's had his struggles today pitching, or this year pitching, especially in the month of May with the long ball. It seems awfully low in my opinion. And the total 7.5. Why isn't that 7, Peter? Why isn't it 6.5 with Ohtani Framber? If that's what we're saying,
they
why
can't
not?
Post with the amount of with the new rules in MLB.
Yeah.
Like, if we ever see a 7, like it would have to be. I mean, that's like why it's at 7.5. It's like you can't get much lower than that.
Agreed, but we saw 7 last week with the Yankees and Mariners. It soared the fuck over, but they still posted it and they weren't afraid. So why not drop us to 7 with Framber and Ohtani? If just your brain with those names, Framber, Ohtani, why isn't it 7? I think the Angels put up some runs today.
Good stuff, my man. So let's get into the next pick.
I believe my next one is the Orioles and the Giants under 8. I think it's
Okay.
7.5 now. I would still play that. It's probably plus money 7.5, or maybe minus 105. I still love it. Logan Webb at home. It's just that narrative. He's a good pitcher. The Orioles are coming off a series where they saw a fuck ton of runs scored against the Guardians, and I think that kind of averages out season-wise to Logan Webb. Big ground ball pitcher this year, and with that being said, you guys have talked about it. The Orioles, they just swing for the fences and they top a lot of balls, and I think it's a really bad matchup for the Orioles lineup. And also Dean Kramer, I mean, that guy I do not think is a good pitcher, but he just gets outs. It's just one of those weird things. It's just what he does. And that Orioles bullpen, even though it was ravaged by the Guardians, it's the Guardians, so I don't put much stock into that. It's really top 5 bullpen in the league, and I don't think we see 8 runs tonight in San Francisco.
It is interesting, though. Right now on BetMGM, the under 8 is minus 115. So there was an adjustment. I don't know what happened. It could be lineup related. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Might be. So just
maybe.
let you know.
I mean, that doesn't make me feel great against line movement, but I've lost plenty of CLV plays and I've won plenty of them against. So it only worries me so much.
Yeah, and it's not like it moved to like 9, right? It's at 8 at minus 115. So 5.
Yeah, I mean, and if that's what you're telling me, it would make sense naturally because the Orioles, they scored 8 runs against the Guardians the last game and lost, and they just scored 8 runs the previous game. So, I mean, the Orioles offense is doing well lately. So it may just be recency bias to their offense.
And yeah, no, I agree. Like, it could not be sharp movement. It's just, hey, on this handle today, we're getting so much money on the over. It could be sharp,
a natural
it could be square. It's just natural movement. All right, let's get into the you got how many more plays? 2 more.
Just one.
Oh, just one.
Yeah, I think.
We got you for 4 total. Well, let's talk Atlanta.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I apologize. Hey, it's the Braves. They just got embarrassed at Oakland, man. Everyone was talking shit on them. We all were. Every single baseball podcast, every single baseball name that covers baseball, they were talking shit on because they lost 2 against the A's, rightfully so. Do I think they come out slow against Merrill Kelly after he just threw his season high in pitches, after coming off a short rest at 35 plus years of age? Absolutely not. They're a terrible matchup for Merrill Kelly, in my opinion. I think they come out hot. I think they come out early, and Morton just does just enough to get us a win in the first 5. I love the value. It's only minus 115. I also took the run line, but I am doing piss poor in the contest, so I'm kind of a pussy at the moment, and I'm taking the money line. But I think they score at least 4 in the first 5, honestly, and I don't see the Diamondbacks doing that.
Good stuff, my man. Let's just keep it moving because then you got people to see, places to be.
Absolutely. My last one, I'll be going places if this play hits. It's a 3-unit bomb, of course. It's the Yankees and the Dodgers under. I got an 8.5. I would still take 8. I also took it at 7.5. I'm not scared of the opening line. Just in your knowledge, in your 25 years of life on this earth, Peter, night games at Chavez Ravine, they're not famous for going over.
No, they are not.
They're not. It's one of the better pitching environments in all of baseball. It's just one of those weird things.
People make fun of me for the marine layer, but like it's a real thing. And the air gets thick in Chavez Ravine, and the balls just halt. They just do not go anywhere. And it's
absolutely.
But the weird thing is, I was like, I kind of like the first 5 over because I think it could be like a 3-2 type ball game, and then runs just stop because the Yankees bullpen is too damn good, and the Dodgers bullpen is starting to roll a little bit.
Absolutely. I mean, most of it is obviously, I don't know if Kershaw pitches a gem, but after he's just pitched absolutely shitty his last 2 or 3 starts, I see him holding this Yankees lineup. I haven't seen it today, but I imagine I saw that they activated Giancarlo Stanton, Donaldson, and someone else today, I believe. Do I think in their first game back in the lineup that they're gonna knock around Kershaw? Absolutely don't. Absolutely not, Peter. And Luis Severino. I mean, the Dodgers are coming off a series against the Nationals. That's a AAA lineup. It's a AAA starting rotation. Severino stuff is much nastier, much higher grade, much better plus stuff. They're not going to get 10 runs every game like they did. It's going to be a classic playoff atmosphere game with 2 of the highest World Series favorites, with 2 of the best bullpens in the league, with 2 really good arms on the mound. 8.5 is really fucking high, and I don't think they get 9.
Good stuff, my man. Because Dodgers Yankees, people are going to turn on the TV and be like, I'm betting the over. Screw it.
They want to see runs. Everyone wants to see runs. Yankees scored 35 runs against the Mariners. Dodgers scored 55 runs against the Nationals. That's all we see. It's recency bias. But what dictates baseball? It's pitching. Everything is relying on pitching. And I think that these are the two best pitching staffs we see the matchups today.
Good stuff, my man. We're going to welcome on Javon because he's got a pick in Brewers Reds, which is starting right now. But appreciate you. Have a great rest of your weekend.
And thanks. Thanks for letting me get on. Thanks, producer. Going.
Got you. All right. Let's welcome on the milkman, Javon. Number 3 in the competition. But you're number 3, but you just haven't given that many picks yet because you just graduated from middle school.
Yeah, it's kind of a Mickey Mouse number 3. So I'm not
a Mickey Mouse number 3.
Yeah, not talking too much about it yet. But
what I will say is you're doing well. You just started. You're doing well. So I'll sit here and take it. Before we even waste any time, because people might have to play this live. Right now you could still play the number on BetMGM. Let's talk Brewers Reds quickly.
Yeah, quickly. I am definitely a huge Reds stan now, so I try to keep my bias out of it when it kind of fits. But I do like them to touch up Corbin Burns today. People have known how Corbin Burns, how shaky he's been this season. A lot of it has had to do with his control. We talk about the cutter. It's cutting, but it's cutting right over the middle of the plate. And this Reds team, this Reds lineup especially, super young, super aggressive. They have that look in their eye right now. Like I love to pull a DeGen. It's one of my favorite DeGen sayings because they do. A lot of the guys in that lineup, whether it's the veterans who have been there, like in India, or a Tyler Stevenson who started off really poorly this season and is starting to hit a little better, or if it's Matt McClain, a lot of the young guys that are just coming into this lineup, they're all seeing the ball really well. And they're coming off of, despite what happened last game, a really good offensive series in Fenway, and they're starting to get rolling here. So there's a big line move down in this game that I kind of leaned into, but I didn't want to back them in the full game because of how taxed their bullpen was in that series in Fenway. So I'm just going for them to score runs here. I think Corbin Burns is going to have another game here where he looks awfully human, to say the least.
I know, I think we talked about this on BTL already, but I was looking at just the weather predictions in this game. And it's one of those games where, like, he had a fly ball to left, and it's like, oh, that looks like a regular fly. And then it just goes out of the ballpark in Great America. Hey, like, you could be on the right side of just, like, some bullshit for people on the under or something. Like, what the hell is happening? And, like, you're cashing in. I think it's a pretty solid bet. I'm afraid of Corbin Burns because I think one of these days he's just going to start hitting the corners with that cutter. But at the same time, it's like I'm expecting it because of past history, and you just ain't doing it. So,
yeah, and I've been the guy who I wouldn't say like I've been burned by it too many times because I've been pretty 50-50 as far as finding success with him, but I've backed him in short line situations. I think I did like first play of the contest was a Corbin Burns, I think, against the D-backs where came back and had a really strong outing. So I'm a big Corbin Burns guy this season, and I think he's going to bounce back. I just don't think this is the spot for it. And even if he does pitch okay, I do feel confident about the Reds offense scratching runs off that bullpen because I don't think he's going to go out and throw 6-7 shutout. I think if he has a good start, he's going to give up 2, at the least. So hoping they can do the job there. I feel confident.
Good stuff, my man. You got more picks though, right?
1 pick and a prize picks.
Let's do it.
Next one, another one we talked about, the over in the Angels-Astros game, the probably most premier pitching matchup of the day, I would say. Some could argue, and that's a reason why I'm taking it, but not the sole reason why I'm taking it. I honestly was debating a long time between the Angels and the over here because I do think, like we talked about, the middle of that lineup when you're talking about Brandon Drury, who I think has a really good matchup today, Hunter Renfroe, even Nato in there, and like running up the back end, I think Chad Wallach's playing today. Framber is kind of known as being this great ground ball pitcher, but for a ground ball pitcher, he has some absolutely alarming numbers if you look at his batted ball stuff. So, I mean, I think I saw 20th or lower in like average exit velo, hard hit percentage, barrel rate. Yeah, I was being generous because I don't know the exact numbers. Didn't want to falsify that, but he's bad. And you talk about a lot of these guys who are going to have really good matchups from the right side. I think they can do some absolute damage. And was I thrown off a little bit by seeing Ohtani, leading off of this lineup? Yeah, absolutely. But I think, it's a little weird. But you know what? I think it's cool. Like that could be super fun, and especially with him pitching today. But that does afford the opportunity of a lot of those guys who have, on paper, fantastic matchups to hit in a row in the middle of that lineup. So I really do like that, especially when Trout is not in the middle of those guys. Because respectfully, Trout, whenever guys are on base, I'm not counting on him to do a single thing. So I'm down with backing a lot of those guys there. And on the other side, I mean, Ohtani, the numbers don't really back this up necessarily. We talk about like matchups with every certain player, which again, we mentioned this earlier, but I feel like Jordan just wins this matchup today against Shohei. It feels like a kind of like the Judge Kershaw situation we talked about. I feel like it's kind of written in the stars today that a lot of these guys for the Astros have a really big day. So I legitimately do like Jose Altuve's matchup, and I think he's going to start off this offense pretty well. But as far as that, like Jordan, I'm never going to fade that guy. And I certainly feel like in the plums that he's doing something today.
I faded him on the under home runs for the season. So how about just like a double off the wall?
Yeah.
Like a
I mean,
3-run double.
That would be cool.
Just not a home run, please.
I'll be down by that or down for that because we also have Jordan under home runs in an entry. So we're joining you in piss. I think it's in the BTL entry.
What I will say is right now, if he plays every game for the rest of the season based on what he's done already, 39 home runs. This is going to be such a sweat.
It's going to be sweaty.
I think he's either finishing on 37 or 38 this season, or he's finishing on 60 and hits like 15 in a month. And then but just to add to your Framber stuff, 4th percentile in average exit velocity. The average exit velocity off Framber Valdez this season is 92.4 miles an hour. In terms of hard hit rate, he's rocking the highest of his career since 2020, which of course was the shortened season. So in all seasons so far that he's ever pitched over a full season, highest of his career sits in the 13th percentile. It's going to be a sick game.
It is, especially when we see nukes after nukes hit. That'll be fun. And I'll tell you what, if everything was offered on Prize Picks, I would 100% be declaring Drury Day, but can't really do that. It's more of a book thing. So I do like the matchup for a lot of those guys. I think we get some runs.
Let's talk Prize Picks.
So this Wheeler goes along with the over that you're talking about, which also got voted as the BTL squad ride from your brain there. Zach Wheeler over 5.5 hits, first leg. You talked about it a little bit. This is a Nats lineup that does not strike out against right-handed pitching. And when you look at a lot of the lineups that Zach Wheeler has struggled against, especially in the hit department, a lot of them are teams that don't strike out. Like his last outing where he's gone over this number was against the Diamondbacks, who are tied with the Nats, the lowest strikeout rate against right-handed pitching in the league. And it's kind of a thing. Like 4 out of the 5 times he's gone over this season, it's been teams in the upper half of striking out against right-handed pitching. And this Nats lineup, not only do they not strike out, but as you talked about, they're not going to beat you with power. They're a lineup that wants you, like this is the perfect matchup for them, not necessarily in terms of, that usually you want to be a lefty as far as a better split, but they want a pitcher that how you're going to beat them is by stacking hits, especially when we talk about the top of that lineup. It's Lane Thomas, Luis Garcia, and against lefties, Lane Thomas has been a strange power source, but against righties, he's just doing his typical leadoff things of the lineups. Luis Garcia is not hitting for power. Joey Meneses has been hitting the shit out of the ball, but he's not hitting for power. I mean, same goes with pretty much everybody in that lineup other than maybe Jeimer, who's been a power source lately, and then Kiebert, who had a little revenge narrative against the Dodgers where he went yard, I think, 3 times.
Yeah.
I think this matchup is perfect for the Nationals. I think they're going to light up Wheeler a lot today. All of his lines look a little oddly high, and I think it makes sense with the matchup that he's got. And I think this is, again, it goes right hand in hand with the over, and I think he gets lit up pretty early and often here. So that's the first leg. Second leg, Brian De La Bonds over his fantasy score would be fine if you prefer to take the run as well because he has that up. I think they go one and the same, but he has a pretty good matchup with both the pitchers he's going to see today, most likely. You got Fujinami opening up for Hogan Harris. And obviously with Brian De La Cruz, you want him against the lefty. That's his better split. I think he's near 340 against lefties, just shy of 290 against right-handed pitching. But it hasn't mattered much lately, to be honest with you. And I know he's kind of cooled off a little bit since like his super hot stretch, but he's still seeing the ball really well. And we talk about like Fujinami he's going to see for an at-bat, but that guy allows barrels out the ass.
He might get it on that at-bat.
He just might, which is why I'm perfectly happy playing it still. Obviously with a right-handed pitcher, he gets every pitch barreled. And we talk about Brian De La Cruz and even Jorge Soler, if that's, needed to drive him in. I don't see anything drawing me away from that matchup. I think it's beautiful. Brian De La Cruz, we talked about some of the movement on a lot of Fujinami's off speed or lack thereof it. Brian De La Cruz has been crushing off speed. You honestly don't want a primarily fastball pitcher against Brian De La Cruz, which talking about Hogan Harris in a second kind of is, but this is a perfect matchup for him for the one at bat. not hedging on it, but against Hogan Harris as well. Then you get Brian De La Cruz in his better split against lefties. One of the adjustments that Hogan Harris made from that first start, where he was throwing a lot of fastballs and he couldn't command it, and he walked, I think, 6 Mets. It couldn't even get through 2/3 of an inning. It was disastrous because he couldn't command his fastball. He started using the changeup and the curveball a lot more, which somehow it worked. And through the Braves batters off balance, I'm not buying into that.
It's almost like one of those things where you see, like, I remember Carl Kaufman in his debut against the Rangers. It was right down the middle, and you saw the Rangers trying to do too much. Like, you saw them all trying to actively hit home runs. That's what can happen to shit pitchers like this. That's what I feel like Dean Kramer's been doing his whole career. It's people are trying to do too mumuch instead of just taking him to the opposite field. Then they go 1-2, and they're like, all right, just hit to the opposite field. And then the hits pile on, and then it's over.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's you made kind of the adjustment to use more of that curveball changeup, which I don't think he's going to have as much success against the Marlins. I mean, this whole lineup just really shows left-handed pitching as of lately. And Brian De La Cruz, like, he wants that off speed, and that's where he's been most successful in this little run. So if he hangs one, or even if he nibbles at the corner, which again, it's not just fastballs, it's like middle fastballs that Brian De La Cruz like doesn't want. He's almost like Randy or Rosarena. Like,
I totally agree with you.
Terrible. And
all he does is hit hanging sliders, and he hits them to the freaking moon.
Exactly. And I think that's what we're going to get. You know, you love to see it from the left side as well. And obviously a bonus anytime you take a hitting prop against the A's. Name one person out of the bullpen that really scares you if you need to get there. None. So, I mean, it's a pretty good matchup. I think the price on that money line was a little telling. I think so, too. I think we get a really good start from Edward Cabrera, and the Marlins offense kind of carries them through this game. And I like Brian De La Cruz to be one of the main guys to do it out there.
Yeah, I mean, I like this. I really like that Wheeler prop. And De La Cruz, I almost feel like, for this matchup in particular, not only could he get it off Fujinami, but he's got that good matchup there. And then it's like, you didn't really talk about the A's bullpen, but like anybody who comes in there, like even a guy like Sam Moll who comes in lefty, right? He's going to give you a lot of off speed. And then if De La Cruz comes up again, you're taking guys against the A's, and there's no real anybody that you have to be worried about. So I think it's a very good entry. Great card. Do you find it interesting, though, that just going back to, because I have no disagreements with anything else, especially the Reds and this Prize Picks entry, but why did that total in Astros Angels go down to -115? It's a very small adjustment. It's just the model loves the over. There's money coming in on the over, and it's not budging, and it only slightly moved down. Do you have maybe any idea why? Lineup adjustment? I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I think I don't know if the books were maybe expecting something drastically different outside of Ohtani leading off for the Angels bullpen, or not bullpen, lineup. So maybe it's an adjustment to that. Whoever's sitting at the bottom of that lineup maybe is a little different than what they expected. But
Jared Walsh is in the Angels lineup. Maybe that's the
Jared
reason.
Walsh. Yeah, that probably doesn't help, to be honest with you. But everybody else, I'm perfectly fine with. I'm not scared off by the little adjustment here. I mean, I don't know how much lower you can make the total, but I don't know how much higher you can make it either. So until I see a move run-wise, I really wouldn't be concerned. So I'm still going with that. And to answer my man's question in the chat, I'm absolutely on him to get a base knock. That was going to be the second leg of my Prize Picks entry with Wheeler until it got taken off the board. So that was frustrating a little bit, but I'm still on him, still have it locked in, and I'm waiting for him to get a hit.
Who are you talking about?
We're talking about I don't even know what to say his last name for the Brewers, Andrew Monasterio.
Oh yeah, the what is he? Is he the new second baseman? Or is
he's been playing middle infield since
they
called him up after the Willie injury.
Yeah, shortstop today.
Yeah,
this dude's hitting 375 already.
Yeah, he's hitting the ball hard. I was super excited for that. I've been waiting for that square all week, and it finally came up like middle of the night last night. I locked it in. I was like, all right, if they're putting that up, that's probably going to stay up. And I wake up and it's gone. So I can't write it up or push it or anything. So I wasn't pissed, but still rooting for my guy.
Not a baby. Good stuff, Javon. Appreciate you coming on. All right. DBU, bro, sitting in piss. Good thing is, we were talking about it. We were texting about it too. It's like college baseball is so wild that when you lose, like, we don't bet it heavily. It's half unit plays and it's just for fun, but it's almost like these games are so wild. And watching like MLB, like it's a grind to score runs. And like the defense is so elite. So then you watch college baseball and you're like, he just drop a fly ball? Like, and it's such a crazy sport. Would you say, so you bet a lot of sports.
Yeah.
I would say that college baseball by far is the hardest sport to cap. By far.
Yeah, easily. And I mean, I've tried to go, because I'm coming from college. Like I go to a lot of the games. I try to even bet them just like recreationally. I'm like, hey, I'm going to TCU FSU tonight. I'm going to take the under, and there's 7 runs scored in the first. It's like, it's so variable, and like everything that gets people frustrated about betting MLB is tenfold. Yeah, it's absolutely insane. So like I mean, I pretty religiously bet MLB, obviously, NBA sometimes, NHL pretty regularly, and then college football, NFL, pretty much all the same. College baseball is not even anywhere close.
Would you say that MLB is your favorite sport overall? Like, what's not even just to bet on, but just your favorite sport?
Well, yeah. I mean, I grew up playing baseball more than the other handful of sports, and I know it better. And I think it's a lot more enjoyable to talk about, Andrew Monasterio and find these guys that you can do every single day rather than, I mean, I love the NFL, obviously, but we're taking the same props, every week. It feels like you have to bet on, every single game because you only get 1 day a week. MLB, you get to like pick your spots and find value. So I think it's a lot more fun.
I agree. Good stuff, my man. Have a great weekend. We're about to welcome on Tomas, but again, keep crushing it. Go Reds.
Go Reds.
I hope Zach Wheeler gets destroyed today. Good stuff, my man. All right, we'll talk soon.
Appreciate it.
All right. You want me? Yeah, I'll text Gino. We're about to welcome on Tomas. Gino, ready for you. Let's welcome on Tomas Romo. Still up.
What's going on, Peter?
In the competition. Can you flash that graphic for us, producer Cohen? Yeah, we still got Tomas in the green, obviously. Even at Tomas's worst, he's still in the green. Absolute stud. Keep killing it, Tomas. What you got for us today?
I have a huge slate today. The one thing that does suck is I wish that I was batting leadoff today because I did have the Brewers Reds first 5 under 5. And I haven't gotten anything saying anyone scored in that game. I think it's like the second inning. But that was my first play today. But we can go ahead and skip it since the game started. And we'll get in my second one. Pirates money line. I'm taking the Pittsburgh Pirates on the money line. I know you got the over in that game. I actually almost played that myself. But this is kind of the way that I see it. A part of me is also looking at this game saying, you know what? I think the average bettor or the normal casual MLB fan is going to look at this game. They're going to see, man, Jack Flaherty, he's probably getting back into form. He just had one of his best starts, went 7 innings. Come on. It's going against the Pirates. And I think people still are undervaluing the Pirates. I know they have really struggled. They kind of fell off a little bit.
Way better lately.
But I do like the Pirates in this spot, and I think people are just going to think, all right, you know what? I'm going with St. Louis right off the bat. Also, too, they opened at minus 165 on the road, and this morning they were down to minus 130. I like the Pirates. It's plus money. They're at home, and I weirdly like Contreras in the spot. I mean, he has 4 pitches to his arsenal. His off-speed pitches have been pretty effective this season. Opponents are batting 161 against his slider, 235 against his curveball, and 200 against his changeup. I just think if he doesn't fall behind in counts and he attacks the strike zone early, he's going to be all right. If he gets forced in putting them fastball counts, those 2-1, 3-1 hitter counts, then it's going to be a little bit tougher. But I know Flaherty is going to give up some runs, but I do like the Pirates in this spot. So give me Pittsburgh on the money line. Good
stuff. Let's keep going because we got a big slate.
Big slate. Next up, Tampa Bay Rays, Boston Red Sox. Give me the Rays. You're getting the best team in baseball at such a short price that it was dumb for me not to play it. Also, it matches a couple systems for me as well. Rays are perfect 5-0 after an off day. 5-0. They haven't yet to lose on an off day. Tampa's 36-15 as a favorite. 31-15 against righties this season. Also, too, the Rays swept the Red Sox once this year. Also, too, the Rays are just rested. I mean, Boston's bullpen the last 3 days has pitched 14 1/3 innings, and I just don't like the spot for the Red Sox, considering the Rays have the bye, their bullpen's banged up, and I think Glass now bounces back from his last start. I really do. And even if he gets rocked a little bit earlier, if you put in that Red Sox bullpen, I trust the Rays to keep it competitive, and if they take the lead, they're going to shut them down.
Good stuff, my man. Let's keep going.
Next up, Cubs, Padres. I'm taking the Padres first 5 -0.5. This is just a straight fade of Tyon. I mean, he has
as you should
horrible this year. Absolutely horrible. And I'm just kind of looking at this. The Cubs also have struggled on the road. They're 9-15 away from Wrigley. I wasn't going to play the juice for the full game, or I wasn't going to play the run line because I told myself the same way I know we've talked about before. I'm fading the pitcher. I don't want to deal with the bullpen. Also, too, you know how upset I'd be if it's the 9th inning and the Padres are up 3 and the Cubs score 2 runs in the 9th and win by 1. It's the Padres and their bullpen, especially Josh Hader. He's up and down. I still don't see him as that dominant closer as he used to be. So I'm just going to take Michael Wacha. He has done really good in the month of May, 0.84 ERA, and he hasn't yet to give up more than 2 runs at any start in this past month. Also, too, lights out at home, 3.38 ERA, and he has yet to allow a run at home over his last 3 starts. I'm going in with Michael Wacha. Give me the Padres first 5.
Is that it, or you got more?
I got one more for you.
Let's keep going.
You're giving me the Orioles at plus money today. I don't care. The Baltimore Orioles.
Dude, it's so funny. Before you continue, I was like, you know what's going to happen? The Giants are going to be winning the game the whole time. It's going to be 3-1 going into the 9th. Orioles are going to walk it off. I just have a feeling this game is going to suck the whole game, and then they're going to win.
And that's why I only played half a unit on it, because it's like, why are the Baltimore Orioles at plus money? But they travel very well. 18-9 on the road, 20-13 versus righties, and 14-12 as an underdog. Giants, on the other hand, are 12-15 as a favorite, 18-22 against right-handers. So Baltimore does add up if you just look at, team by team. Also, too, Dean Kramer has pitching lights out this past month. 5 starts, 2.45 ERA in the month of May. Orioles went 4-1 over those starts. Also, too, here it goes. The Orioles, 14-6 coming off a loss. That's 70% with a 30% ROI. Also, too, this is a cool little stat for you. Baltimore is probably in the best division all of baseball, right? So AL East teams versus non-divisional teams are 121-70 this season, hitting at 63%. So if you pretty much bet every AL East team so far this season, you're hitting at 63%, which is a crazy stat. I saw that today and I said, yep, makes me feel even better about Baltimore. I'm taking the Orioles on the money line. Like I said, half a unit. Let's go O's.
Absolutely, man. I don't got much for you other than I think Rays Red Sox gets rained out. I was going to bet that game.
No, yeah.
And I just saw the weather report. I was like, I doubt this game gets played.
Yeah, I was looking at it, and that's the one that struggles because I really wanted to watch that game because I wanted to see how Glasnow pitches. That was really my take on it because it's the Rays. I like watching them play baseball. I know me and you have talked about it before. They play the game the right way. I love watching people play.
All right, my man. We got to get Gino from Bet Openly. We got a lot of picks. We got to get through everybody, but Tomas, keep crushing it.
Of course,
I got nothing for you. Keep it up.
See you, man.
Peace out, dude. Gino from Bet Openly.
What is up, my dude? It's Friday. We don't wear shirts on Fridays. Seltzers are flowing. My little one wants all the attention. We just got out of the pool. So how are you living, brother?
I'm living amazing, and I feel even better knowing that Gino has his play of the stream, right? In terms of this is the highest unit you've ever put on something on stream so far. So happy to have you. It's a good Friday. Let's just talk about that game first. I don't
want to jinx myself because it is my biggest MLB bet of the year. But I start off really slow and I grow. But
yeah,
let's dive into it. Let's get people fed and then let's explain it. So it's a 2.5 units, nothing crazy. But if you think in terms of percentages, that's 2.5 size my average bet. Or if my bet of the weeks are usually 2 units, so it's even 25% bigger than that. So under 4.5 minus 128 on Baltimore SF. I loved listening. I got to start sitting on the show more before and after. People, good dudes coming on, adding a lot of value and aligning. It seems like we all are sharp. We align a lot. I have this pegged at the true line as 3.5, which that's substantial, right? It's not just gaining a run. It's gaining a run in just the first 5 innings. Now, I'm going to align with a lot of what you both said. Can Baltimore find a way to win this game? Of course. I actually think they don't need to find too many crazy ways to win this game. I think the Giants only put up a run or two. So I'm really hoping for like a 1-1, 2-1 first 5 innings. Either way, don't care. And don't care what happens after the 5th. Everything we have in every system just shows that the true line here is 3.5. I usually get scared when I see that. Then I pulled up a bunch of data and I'm like, oh, I get it. The Giants have been hitting the Ball. They've been hitting this, Baltimore's been hitting all year. I still think the line's wrong. So that's where it comes from. The data justifies this line, and that's what I like because I don't want to get trapped. And I have overheard you talking about Tampa Bay and the total runs there, and I know we don't do certain bets, so I won't dive too deep. But that was another one where I thought I felt trapped because I had a one run of value, and then I looked at it closer, and there was no justification. And I'm a huge proponent of the books know more than me. So just know I don't always think when I find a few runs or a few value, because the books are good at trapping people. So I don't just hammer my money down when I find value like that. I got to find why to justify it, and then if the justification makes sense, but I still believe in myself, then I hammer it. So I hope that's helpful. Minus 128 might be as high as you see me go here on first five.
That's what I said for me too, because I'm on the Cardinals versus Pirates first five over 4.5, and I was like, you don't really see me doing minus 130. Like, yeah, I think I've done a couple minus 130s this year. I already got burned on a minus 140. Like, I really stick to dogs and up to minus 130. So that's mostly my cap. And I was like, I ain't laying the juice for no reason. Yeah. And you're the same way.
With the exception of the A's, like, again, not to shit on the A's. No, seriously, I don't.
No, I know. It's just funny because there's truth in comedy.
Yeah, honestly. And I'm like, dude, the kids on that team that people are disrespecting, I'm like, these guys are absolute studs on their entire roster the whole way through.
Yep.
It's just baseball's a tough game. And the reason I bring that up is this game for where it went from 2 to 2.5. I also have the Nerfy in this game, but I'm not betting it. So I don't, because then I'd be at a 3.5 unit play, and I just don't do that. It takes a lot for me to do that. But I also like the Nerfy in this game. And when I was looking at it, I want to say the edge I saw on the Nerfy was like 8.4%, which was less edge than this. So then I just said, well, I'm going to put all my eggs in one basket. But I cannot believe that Nerfy's not minus 125 or 130. Like, I'm being serious. I can't believe I think it's 118 right now. So depends how y'all want to bet, but I would put my name next to the Nerfy in this game as well. But I'm just not going to. That to me is too correlated. Now I got the Nerfy. I got the first 5 under. There's not a lot of room. If it just doesn't go how I wanted, now I'm out. Double what I usually
just get. And my only question is too, because you got good line movement on your side. I'm just curious for people who, let's say they can't play alternate totals because it has moved in your direction.
Yep.
Let's say they can only play 4. Right now it's at minus 105. Is that worthy of like 1 unit? Would you still?
Yeah, good question. Thank you for asking that. I would still play this at, so you said minus 105?
Minus 105 at 4.
Yeah, let me answer that just a different way. I have the true line in this game at minus 110, 3.5.
Okay.
So I wouldn't give up a half a run for 15% juice in a full game, but in first 5 I would, because it's such that half a run is so much more valuable.
True.
Not quite 2x, but starting pitchers are, in my opinion, better than most bullpens. So in terms of especially macro ERA. So I would say I would cut it down to 1 unit. If you did that, just bet 1 unit on the under 4 first 5 innings. I know it's a substantially different play. I hope we get the 3. I'm going to be happy if it's 2-2, 3-1. It's a big hook to lose when you lose in the first 5. That's all.
Yeah. No, good stuff, my man. Yeah. So you got a bunch of plays that I guess don't really count.
That's cool.
But of course, you like to just throw them in, and we like to just talk about them. So let's just talk about some of these plays that you got, because we got Glass now, and you love his over Ks. Maybe something to even play on Prize Picks, which is definitely something interesting. People are getting excited about a Reds bang.
Yeah.
So Reds bang.
Oh man. I don't do a lot of ladders. The reason I laddered that was that second K, going up one more K from 5.5 to 6.5. I just felt like it was too cheap. They're giving 25% on that, and this is, again, I'm talking correlations here. I liked Tampa Bay to put up runs today. We'll keep it that vague. I actually like Tampa Bay to put up 4 in the first 5 and 6 in the game. So that was 1.5 off from the first 5 and 2.5 off for the game. So if that's off the table, I like Tampa Bay. There's nothing I've seen. This is the best hitting team in baseball. Why on earth? They're rested, I believe. Again, if anything I'm saying is inaccurate.
That's what Tomas said. He said they're 5-0 off a rest. But my only problem, and it has nothing to do with the actual game, it has to do with the weather. I don't think this game's going to get played.
Okay. So
I hope it does.
We can glaze over it. But my point was best hitting team in baseball. I had him on. I didn't even have a 5-0. Whatever stat I had was 8-2. So maybe it's like maybe I did shorter rest and he did like longer rest. And again, this Boston's a hitting park. We all know that. And everything I saw was this is just priced wrong, and it's priced substantially wrong. The difference is I couldn't really justify why it was priced wrong with the distribution, so I got gun shy. So it's just a regular 1-unit play, even though, because again, you always ask me really good questions like how do you think and how do you act? So I identified as much value on Tampa Bay in this situation as I did in the first 5 under. The difference is I couldn't find justification for it. So I get scared because I'm like, someone knows something more than me. And maybe it's the weather. Maybe that's what it was.
I think it is.
Soggy ball, something like that. So we can end there. And then I just also think Glasnow is cheap right now. People are low on him. I love buying cheap. And tell me if I'm crazy. I kind of like this ladder even more with bad visibility, rain and lights. Or does it slow the pitcher down more? You'd be better on that. This is something I'm speaking out of my ass too.
I think every pitcher is different.
Uh-huh.
So Tyler Glasnow, if we remember how he got his injury, the way he got his injury, and he blamed it on the lack of the ball being sticky, the difference in, grabbing the rosin and all that kind of stuff. So that's what he quoted as like, that's what threw my arm out of whack. So in the rain with lack of sticky.
Yeah. No sticky at all. Soggy and slippery. And it is leather.
But again, it might just not happen. Like,
no, I get it.
That's true. Producer Cohen just made a good point. When you mix sweat with rosin or any sort of wet substance with rosin, it creates the stick.
I get it.
But the thing is with Glasnow, he's very rarely on the mound because he's always injured. So I can't remember a time where he pitched in the rain and pitched really good because it's so few and far between. Like, that's why Glasnow, I assume the books have a tough time gauging him because he's so hit or miss. Like, he'll come in for a couple of starts, look amazing, that'll get blown up, then he gets hurt. But like when he's on the mound and he's right, I think he has some of the best stuff I've ever seen. He's just very tough for, I think, books to price correctly. And
Pete, you're a data guy and you know this game inside and out. Can I give you some homework before I depart?
Yeah.
Can you just macro, and if you know it off the top of your hand, then no homework, but sincerely, can you look up if a top hitting team like Tampa Bay puts up more or less runs in the rain? Like, and I'm not talking sprinkles, like a substantial. That's where I'm trying to understand. Obviously, the wooden bat gets heavier. Obviously, the ball gets heavier, but the pitcher also loses, I would guess, at least a mile an hour. So I just want to know, blanket statement, painting with a broad brush, who is better in the rain, the defense or the offense? And I wonder if there's an answer to that.
I don't know the exact answer. What I do know is generally, weirdly enough, it's not the rain that affects the game more than the wind.
Of course.
Because it's with the wind, because if it's rainy and wind's blowing in, expect nothing. If it's rainy and wind blowing out, it actually will affect the game more than just regular wind blowing out because of the visibility for the defense, right? So if wind is blowing out too, it's a little bit harder to field ground balls. Once you pick up the ball, it's harder to throw over. Like anyone who's played baseball will know, it's a tougher game in elements. So when wind is blowing out with rain, I think it actually helps more than just regular wind. When wind is blowing in with the rain, I think it's worse for the offense than just regular wind blowing in. So I think the rain almost helps or hurt more on both sides.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and just to answer your question on the Rays, I don't know exactly about the Rays, but what I do know is that they play in a dome, right? They play in Tropicana Field. So they're not really used to, or at least 82 home games, they're not used to playing in those elements. Maybe as another team who plays all their games outside, maybe like a Seattle or San Francisco, as you know, living in the Bay Area, like rain happens all the time. So those type of teams are more used to it, while the Rays playing more of their games in the Dome, I don't know. I'd have to go look it up.
No, it makes sense. No, it's a really good answer. And then last thing, again, not for the show, but just for in general, are you watching up to the College World Series, or are you just waiting for the College World Series to start watching college ball?
Oh, no, I made 4 bets today. I'm 0-2 so far.
Wait, let me give you the, hold on. So I used to run with the syndicate in Chicago. I used to run numbers for them. And I just tapped them because it's been a while. And I just said like, hey, what are your plays? So I'm going to start having more college plays if you ever want them, or if you just want to shoot the shit.
Hell yeah, I do.
So which ones won today? I gave out the, you're going to like this. And again, I hate taking credit, but I'll bring them to any show. I gave out the under 16 on my TikTok live in Northeast Maryland. That ended 7-2. The over-under was 16. That's insane. I gave out the under 12 in Ball State, Kentucky. It ended 4-0.
Great.
And these aren't my plays. Gino does not get credit for these. I just tapped my old Chicago syndicate guys. And for those that aren't familiar with the syndicate, these are like, in my opinion, the sharpest of the sharps. All they do, they're so good, they've been cut off at all local bookies. So they let kids sign up for accounts that they warm up by losing money. And they tell the kids, hey, just give me 50% of the profit. I'll just feed you. And that's the syndicate runs all over the country, and you blend their bets in. But literally, they come out with these 2 today, and these are just absolute dominant plays. Like literally, I was like, bro, how do you have a read on Northeastern Maryland? And then Ball State, Kentucky. And they're like, Gino, just trust us. You used to run with us forever. And these things hit out of the park. Like, they weren't even close. Like under 16, it ends in 9. Under 12 ends in 4. Monster. So if you and I want to spin off a college or whatever, find a way, I'll have syndicate plays at least 4 days a week starting tomorrow.
Unbelievable. We'll be texting.
Let me know, brother. I just like talking gambling. That's all I care about.
Love it, my man. Keep up the great work. Have a great weekend. Let's hit some bets today.
Cheers, my dude. Have a great night.
Appreciate you, my friend. We got Arm Layton coming on. And he's got a classic Marlins A's game. I don't know if you're actually betting on it. But we have an Edward Cabrera, Shintaro Fujinami battle of stuff where none of them know where it's going. Oh, goats are muted.
It's going to be the most electric walk battle of all time. If we could take like an over-under total walks, I would have cribbed that. I would have taken, I think,
the only problem is Fujinami's probably only going to go an inning. It'll give up 3 walks, but like, it's not your regular Fujinami outing.
Which is why I actually love this one. I was not, I do not like the value of the Marlins on this. I try to stay away from betting the Marlins in general. Usually, if I'm betting a Marlins game, it's over, under, or fading them. You're rarely going to see me on the Marlins side. I know when they're going to lose. I don't know when they're going to win. But in this regard, I would stay away for those because I know people in the chat are always like throwing around different plays. I wouldn't bet the Marlins at this price. It's just a horrible price with Edward Cabrera on the mound because he could only go 3 or 4. Again, like Edward Cabrera, it doesn't matter who he's facing. He could be facing the Texas Rangers. If he's on, he's going to carve. If he's off, it doesn't matter if he's facing my summer league, my softball team. He could be facing you and me. It doesn't matter. We'll just stand there, won't swing, and he'll walk us all. So for that reason, I like the over in this game. A bullpen game for Oakland A's, man. Like you talk about it all the time. I mean, this bullpen stinks, and they're going bullpen game. So even if Fujinami's sharp, he goes 1 or 2. Okay, great. They're going to kick it to the bullpen now. And basically it's just a game of numbers at that point. All of their arms stink. They might get 1 or 2 guys that give you a good outing. But Sam
Moll does have an ERA under 5.
He's under 5.
I think
does anybody else? You look at bullpens more than I do. Who else has an ERA under 5 in that bullpen? No, like off the dome. No way you can tell me. No way. And you look at the up-to-date stats more than anybody. There's no way.
I think if I remember off the top of I think they have like a guy who like has like a 0 ERA because he did 1 inning, 3 hits, no run. Like I think, nobody to be worried about.
So my point here is that you have a bunch of bad arms. The more bullpen arms that are going to come into this game, the higher chance that 1, 2, or 3 of them have bad outings. And, the odds are just going to be in your favor here. The Marlins have been swinging it okay overall. Obviously, they got shut down by the Padres in that last game, in the last couple of games. But I feel like the offense has been a little bit better. This is one where, you can even be a pretty bad offense, and you're going to put it together against this Oakland A's pitching staff. I see a question in the Twitch stream, which is, should I stay away from Marlins first half team total? 2.5. I don't know. What do you think about that, Peter? Because for me, I
want to just take them. I don't want to get them early. Even though one thing about A's first five overs, just games, the entirety of the first 5 when A's are on the road have been cashing because they normally throw some trash can, and then they actually hit okay. So first 5 overs in general been cashing. But I agree with you. I would way rather take the full game over because the Marlins bullpen too, with the AJ Puckless Marlins bullpen, Brazaban's taken a little bit of a step back. Florio's good in spots, but he's kind of inconsistent. And then there's a lot of guys. And Matt Barnes can let up 4 runs in a blink of an eye. And
they just sent him to the IL. Yeah.
There you go. So I think your bet is the best bet in this game. Play the numbers game, take some of these arms, because let's say Hogan Harris, let's say Fujinami goes 1 inning, 1 run, and then they go to Hogan Harris and he gives up 1 run in 3 innings, and now you're in the 5th and you're really hoping for a run there. Just take them because the A's bullpen is going to get worse and worse as they continue.
100%. Last thing I'll say on this too is the Marlins go-to arms have been good, but there's a pretty steep drop off. And if this is a game where the Marlins are in the driver's seat, they're going to give up runs in the back end. Again, their middle relievers are rough.
They're not rested too, right? I mean, they've been getting used.
Not. They used Okert the other day, pretty deep. They used a few different guys. I think this is a game that can go over. And what they end up doing, either when they're up big or down big, Brian Hoeing just comes in and just gets a few outs, gives up a few runs, and just mops up. That's easily something I could see them doing. But again, 8.5 is just too low for me. Especially with the pitching issues you're going to have on both sides here. Edward is not going to go deep. I can tell you that no matter what.
I couldn't agree with you more. Let's get to your second play because you got a bunch of 2-unit bombs today.
2-unit bombs. I was really liking what I was looking at today. So the second play, I'm going to go with we'll talk about the Minnesota Twins here because this has become my guy now. I think, when it comes to getting outs, Bailey Ober's a gets outs guy. I hope that I can convert you over here. 6'9", 260 pounds. The numbers I think are better than they look, and the numbers are already pretty decent. He's had 1 pretty much bad start all year at the big league level, and that came 2 starts ago. Of course, I think that was the start that I tailed him. But bounce back against the Blue Jays, 5 innings, 2 runs, 1 walk, 7 Ks. He's been spectacular this year overall. It's been 6 strikeouts or more basically every single outing except for the one where I tailed him last. And really limiting hits, stranding base runners, not really walking anybody. I really feel like Ober is one of those guys. You talk about, Peter, how you try to identify those gets outs guys that are undervalued by the sports books. Yep. And I think Bailey Ober is in that bucket right now. I really do feel like he is someone that's incredibly overlooked between his ability to just get weak contact, get soft stuff in the air, and now he's getting more strikeouts than ever. I like Ober to churn out a quality start against a Guardians lineup that's not good. I know that they've been showing some signs of life, but Twins back at home. Ober, I think this is an opportunity for him to just attack them, which he's been doing a good job of, and just get a lot of weak contact. The only way that you can beat Ober is with the long ball. He's a fly ball pitcher, and the Guardians hit the least home runs in Major League Baseball, or at least one of the fewest.
Pathetic. No, it's the fewest.
You're
right.
If I get beat by the Guardians going deep, tip the cap, happily. And then on the other side, it's Savali. I don't know. Savali's a tough read. Where are you at on Aaron Savali right now? Because I'll give you my little pitch, but I'm curious what your take is on him at this point.
I think Savali is tough because he's kind of in the get outs category where when you watch him, nothing blows you away. But I think what's kind of underrated about Savali is I do think that he has very good command within the strike zone.
He does.
Right? He's going to walk a couple of guys, but when he's throwing strikes, he hits the catcher's mitt whenever he wants to. It's just the stuff isn't that good, so he has a small margin for error. Like Ober has objectively better stuff, and he also has the command within the strike zone too. So when Savali is on, he can actually be very good, but the thing is, he's off more often than he's on. So he's a tough pitcher to really bet on, in my opinion.
And that's the interesting part, because I was kind of leaning towards staying away. I look back at the last 2 rehab starts, or the 2 starts that he made in AAA with our friend Jack McMullen on the call in Indianapolis, and just a pair of outings where it just seemed like he was fighting himself command-wise. Uncharacteristic 4 walks between those 2 starts, 6 earned runs between those 2 starts. He only went 3 1/3 the first time, 4 2/3 the second time, 11 hits combined, 2 home runs, 4 walks, 6 earned runs. I don't know if Savali is going to really just bounce back immediately in the big leagues. And again, this Twins lineup looks a little bit better. I don't like to put too much stock into one player, but Royce Lewis, I think, is a game changer for them at third base. They were getting nothing from the third base position. Now he gives you power. He gives you speed. It's just another bat in the lineup that looks really good. Also, I just saw a question, Royce Lewis, Rookie of the Year. I love it. I really think he's got a shot to do it at plus 150 or plus 15,000.
Oh no, it's down from plus 15,000 to 2,500 now.
Wow, great bet. That is a phenomenal bet.
It's not nearly as good as Reds to win the division, but it's up there.
But yeah, so it's a little bit of a fade of Savali, more of a backing of this Twins offense that looks more fortified. Kirilloff is swinging it, by the way, and Bailey Ober. I will tail him on your stream the rest of the year. I promise.
You see me get freaking burned by the Guardians money line last night?
No,
dude, Francona, dude. Okay, so I wrote in my article, and I was like, the Guardians have this bullpen advantage over the Twins. But I wrote specifically, I was like, Trevor Stephan and Sam Hentges are probably not going to be available because they've thrown so many pitches in the past couple of days. It's 6-3. It's the 8th inning. Who comes in? Trevor Stephan. And I'm like, why? We have Xavier Curry. We have Class A. We had, I think, a couple other guys that were available. I was like, why'd we go to Stephan? 3 runs. And then it's 6-6 now, bottom of the 9th. Who they put in instead of Class A is rested? Eli Morgan, and we lose. And I'm like, Francona, like,
no way.
You lost the game. I'm not, I didn't even blame Stephan. I didn't blame Eli Morgan. Like, you lost them the game. That was a manager.
That's the part that sucks. That's the part where it's like, you don't know what's going on behind closed doors, like Class A sick or something like that.
Yeah.
Like something going on. Like,
there had to be something, because I'm like, Francona, what?
Yeah. Huh.
And then I posted about it. Guardians fans went off on Francona. I guess he's been doing this all year to them.
Really? Maybe he's like, my
they
team
say he's been a horrible game manager.
He's overthinking it.
Because I've seen Guardians games a few. Obviously, they watch every game, so they would know better than I. But they were killing him, man. Yeah. I posted under my tweet just about the bullpen usage. Got like 9 quote tweets. People ripping Francona. I was like, whoa.
Wow. Not Tito. I love Tito.
Yeah, I was like, I never would have expected that, but I guess you learn something new every day.
Hey, it's what you're doing for me right now in this baseball world and in the betting world. You know that.
Oh, yeah.
Last one. And this one I'm probably the most nervous about because it seemed like the biggest.
I don't know if it's going to happen, this game. I guess people are saying that in Boston right now that it's supposed to stop raining at 8, but I guess the rain is terrible right now. It might get played later, just might get delayed. But
okay. Well,
but yeah,
hopefully they don't start it and stop, because obviously if they do that, Glasnow, no matter what, is not coming back out. They're not letting that man and his fragile obliques and all that. Like,
Gino and I were talking about it. So do you think the rain is good or bad for Glasnow? Because I was saying, like, he's a guy who's been injured, and he blamed it basically on him not being able to grip the ball. And I'm like, could the rain help with rosin? Would it hurt him more? And I was like, shit, I don't know.
I think if anything, it would hurt a little bit.
Right?
Yeah. I'd prefer a dry environment. This guy's so damn good already. Like, just give me the status quo and let him shove. But this is also, so it's first 5 under 5, which to me, like, is almost a red flag. Like, it's almost concerning. I would love for you to add some context to this after I give my pitch, because, like, it just seems way too high. Garrett Whitlock looks great. And for Whitlock, it was just a matter of getting healthy, but it wasn't an arm injury. It was a hip. And so his arm looks fresh. He looks really good. And he just came off of an outing against the D-backs who have been clicking on all cylinders. You and I just talked about this on the Just Baseball show. Like, the offense has been great, but he went in there at Arizona, 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, which came on a solo shot, no walks, 4 Ks. His rehab starts were fantastic. I really think that this guy is going to be probably the best arm for the Red Sox the rest of the way if he can stay healthy. Obviously, it's not the easiest matchup in the world pitching-wise in this one. You know, the Rays have been tough, but I really feel like this is one where through the first 5, man, the fact that 2-2 is a win, to me, that's a no-brainer with Glass now, who looks all the way back. They've been really babying him like he's fine at this point, like he's 100% back. And then Whitlock looks healthy and fresh.
No, the other I wasn't like nodding my head, like going side to side because I don't like agree with you. I totally agree with you. Like, I mean, I've been saying this now like for years. When Glass now is on,
he's as nasty as anybody.
He would make Babe Ruth shit himself. Like, he at 6'7" with those lanky arms and him throwing 100 with rise and then that curveball that he just breaks off and then he developed the slider. I'm like, I think
his slider sits at 90.
I think he's the best pitcher on planet Earth. I don't even care. I think he's
he's right there. Him and DeGrom, like, it's just like, just please stay healthy. Just throw.
Dustin May too. I just don't get it. They're just
it's
I don't know how anyone ever hits it, but I agree. I think Whitlock turns in a pretty good outing today. I think the Red Sox, and Javon, obviously a big Rays fan, he was like, the Red Sox are sneaky, even though Tomas is on the Rays. I think the Red Sox are sneaky because I think Whitlock actually has a decent matchup today. I've noticed that the Rays, they're very particular. Like, guys like Whitlock who are in and out on the corners with like those cutters and sliders, they can get the Rays to kind of ground out. But like, you get a lefty or a guy with a flat fastball, like that's really when the Rays destroy. So I think Whitlock actually turns in a decent outing. And then I think the X factor here is Glass now. Like, if he can grip the ball and do well, this will soar under. But I even think if he doesn't look great, I think Whitlock turns in a good outing. So
100%.
I think kind of no matter what happens, you're in a good spot.
Yeah, I feel like the way I was looking at it and of course it doesn't always go how you think, but I'm like thinking 3-2 worst case scenario. Okay, I push. I really struggle to see any way that it's anything other than 3-2, 4-1, something like that through the first 5 at the worst case scenario. Before I leave the stream, I want to give one quick plug. I'm actually going to make a TikTok about this real quick. But Brian Wu, Mariners, you know I've been in your ear about Brian Wu. He has a locker at the Rangers in Texas right now. Makes sense. He's in the Texas League in AA. He's making the jump just like Bryce Miller did. Mariners right-hander. He's going to make his debut against the Rangers. So I would say it's risky. I don't know what the value is going to look like when he starts. I don't know if he's starting tomorrow or the day after, whatever it might be. But I know the system says fade the guy on the road. But Vegas, I don't think is going to have much data on Brian Wu because he's coming up from double, similar to Bryce Miller. Fastball is exactly like Bryce Miller's, like invisible, just takes off from this ridiculously low release point.
Yeah, you're showing me him.
He might attack them with the fastball and overpower them. I don't know. We'll see. But if there's some if it's one of those where it's like plus 280, like sprinkle. That's all I wanted to say to the listeners, like to the viewers here. Like, if Brian Wu has great value, don't overthink it. He didn't get to triple. That's the only place where public data is really available in the minor leagues. So I don't think Vegas has much to work with on Brian Wu right now. And I think this guy could surprise a lot of people with that fastball.
No, you know what's funny? The system is doing far worse than it did last year, the fading rookies on the road system. Last year, it was a printer. This year, it's very hit or miss. And it was something that I think it was a system that made sense mentally. Rookie, road. So I started doing it. It kept cashing. And then I just did it the whole year. Very profitable. This year, it's very hit or miss. It's very, very hit or miss.
That makes me feel even better.
I think it's like 4, 3, and 2. Like, it might just have been a one-time thing. Like Cal might have been a one-time system. So, for example, Reese Olson is going against the White Sox today. I didn't fade Reese Olson. First of all, there's no shot I'm taking the White Sox.
Which is interesting. I looked at that one. I did, because Olson's fastball has been pummeled as much as any in the minor leagues.
It's the White Sox.
His last 2 starts, he's been disgusting. So I'm just like, stay away. Yeah. Just stay away. But Brian Wu, folks, Let me know if you tail on Brian Wu, if the value's there. I don't know when he's starting yet, but very excited to watch that. I'll have a full breakdown on his arsenal out tomorrow as well. And I'm going to make a TikTok right now as I get off with you talking about Wu. So look out for that.
Good stuff, my man. Keep killing it. Appreciate you coming out and give you your picks. We'll talk to you soon, all right? Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy Brian Wu.
Yes, I will.
All right, my man. Talk to you. That's it, right? That's all the picks, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully we got enjoyed. People are freaking out about the Reds. Are Reds banging? Are Reds banging for the people? 3-2 Cincinnati Reds. Frickin' Corbin Burton's only in the third. Javon's sitting on a team total over 4. I think he's in a pretty damn good spot. Tomas, first 5 under 5. Not ideal. Not ideal. It's currently tied. It's currently pushing in the third inning. Not ideal. Some people are hitting, some people are not. That's the name of the game, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate you guys all listening. Hopefully you guys enjoy your weekend. Remember, don't forget, tap into that Pikkit giveaway, right? We're giving away $100 to 2 people. Use the code Peter when they sync their sports book. Is it the OS first 5 under or Dodgers first 5 under chat? Oh, I'm not exactly sure. Appreciate you guys. Remember, on my Twitter at PeterApple23, which I assume you guys follow, tap into that Pikkit giveaway, right? If you have yet to sync your sports book, yet to download Pikkit, at least become a part of the team where all of our plays are tracked in case you ever miss any. And then you have a chance to win $100 just from our giveaway. And when you enter code Peter into the raffle, or when you sync your sports book by using code Peter, you enter into a raffle anywhere from $3 to $100. Appreciate you guys. Yeah, remember, I'm not the person to ask for Dodgers-Yankees stuff, especially not the Yankees. You guys know I banned them. Do I like the first 5 over? Kinda. That would be my main lean in that play. But again, don't trust my opinion on the Yankees. Definitely do not. I've always been saying that. I banned them for a reason. Appreciate you guys. Have a great weekend. Thanks for coming in. I know it's a little bit lower numbers. It's Friday. People want to enjoy the weekend. Thank you guys for sticking with us. All right. But we got to remember one thing. Not gambling advice. Peace out, everybody.